Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar, Start Your Day in Power. We'll do this in English, obviously, since we have English friends and participants on this call. So I really look forward to spending the next half an hour with you and share some insights and perspectives that I found very, very valuable when it comes to finding more joy at work, reducing stress, and also getting the productivity up. So that's the theme of these 3 days. My name is Wilhelm Hast, if you haven't met me before, and I share more about myself in just a minute. If you see the recording of this webinar, you're also really, really welcome. There are way more people watching the recording of this webinar. We had about 250 people sign up, and we're 60 or so people here, and that's how it normally goes. So welcome to all people and you that are watching the recording right now as well. First of all, I just want to urge everybody to get present here for the next 30 minutes. So close your mail inbox, turn off your phone, close the door if you need to, and spend the next 30 minutes in a way that will impact your experience of power during the day and also what you produce today. It's me and my colleague Monica who will introduce in a while here also. We really want these mornings to be valuable for you, to actually impact your experience of your day in sense of being in your power more, and also get things done that you wouldn't have gotten done if you weren't here. That's what we're about every day of the week. And I'll ask you to type in the chat from time to time on those webinars so we get some interaction here. So I'd like you to find the chat bubble at the bottom of the screen normally. Just open the chat and then just type in right now, where are you in the world? Which city are you in? So type the city you're in the chat so we see where are people seated who are participating with us today. I see lots of Swedish names. I know where they are. I also saw someone from England, Manchester, I think. Shut up. Let's hang on and see. Dublin. Oh, Sean. Hi. Good to see you again, Sean. You were with us last month, I think. And Fiskebäckskil, I know exactly where that is, Johanna. It's a lovely, lovely place, especially a day like this. So we are people here from all over Sweden and some participants from Ireland and England also, mainly. Now, with Zoom, there is this chat. You're welcome to put a question in the chat box if you like. We don't promise that we get to them, but Monica will keep an eye on the chat. So if there is something not working, a question you have, you can put it in the chat during the webinars as well. So, who am I? Well, my name is Wilhelm. I just love sharing insights and perspectives that makes a difference for people's experience of well-being and productivity. I led my first course in 1989, so it's a long time ago since I started designing training and development for people. And I've had the privilege over the years to work with way more than 20,000 people. Leaders, managers, people are already productive, but they are either struggling with their workload or they want to increase their production and their ability to lead themselves and people around them to produce more. I once led programs for Sony Ericsson down in the south of Sweden. Personal effectiveness training is about 15 years ago. And then one manager said, I'd like to ask you, can I maybe get some people to Sweden who work abroad and you can come and lead the training for them as well? Because this was really, really good. And I said, yes, of course, that would be great. And that was a fantastic experience for me at the time because people flew in from 18 different countries. There were 60 participants. We got 4 different groups going. And in the same room were people from Japan and Mexico and Peru and Russia and Poland and lots of places. And honestly, I was a little nervous before those trainings because I thought people are so diverse in culture. Will they actually get it? And in one way, I wasn't hesitant because I know what I teach and the approach I and my colleagues have go beyond culture. It goes beyond personal opinion. It goes beyond if you're a man or a woman, if you're young or older, what position you have in the company. Speak a bit more about that soon, because we address principles that are the same for all human beings all the time. And of course, those 2 days with 40 different groups, 8 days in totals, it was as it always was. Everybody in the room got what I was talking about, because we address things here that are, as I said, beyond personality. We look into the core of the human design, and when you look deep enough, we're all the same. Biologically, we all have a heart, we all have lungs, we all have a skeleton inside. Psychologically, we are in some ways also the same. And these mornings, we want to talk about that sameness in a way that opens up new perspectives for you and make a difference. So let's dive right into it. What is that sameness in being human? What do we all share? What do we all have in common? Well, a simple metaphor, obviously, is there are principles in life, things that are always at work, whether you believe it or not, whether you know of it or not, whether you agree with that principle or not. The principle works beyond your ability to impact it. Simple example, what makes the pen fall? Well, it's gravity, obviously, right? I once had a group of doctors in the room, 30, 35 doctors. They were also managers of health centers. So they were leaders running a medical operation, and they were also medical doctors. I asked them to shout out in the room, why is the pen falling? And I dropped the pen. And their response surprised me, because half of the room shouted out gravity. The other half of the room shouted, you dropped it. And at first I laughed inside, because like, oh, that was a bit stupid. Doctors should be smart. It's gravity. But then I stopped and thought, no, they are both right. They just see the world differently. Some were looking for principles and they said gravity. Some other doctors there, they looked for behaviors. And as a behavior, it's my dropping the pen. And that is the pitfall, guys, that so much of training doesn't work. And so much of training online doesn't work because we look to the behaviors only without looking at the principles beyond the behavior. And when you do that, you will find yourself knowing what to do, but you don't do it anyway. You know what behavior you should use, but at the end of the day, you notice, I didn't do what I should have been doing. And why that doesn't happen, why that happens, I will explain in a minute. So if you recognize that with yourself, type in the chat. You know what to do to either be less stressed or more productive, but you don't do what you already know to do anyway. Type me in the chat if that's you. You know to do things, but you don't do it. Yeah, of course. Me too sometimes. I'm not above and beyond all this. Isn't that interesting? We know exactly what we should do, but it doesn't happen. In our trainings, we work with transformative education, not small improvements. We want a before and an after, and that's accomplished by this. I'll screen share and draw a few things here. If you heard me speak about these things before, I invite you to listen with open ears, to hear something beyond what you've been thinking before. Now, here's an illustration. Let's say in life there is a situation. We call it situation X. Something is going on in life. And here is an individual facing that situation. And typically with our customers, the person is a leader or a manager, could be running their own business as an entrepreneur, and the situation they face is one of opportunity, but also of a workload that is bigger than they want. So they are experiencing stress and pressure and overwhelm, at least from time to time. And that stress and overwhelm starts to take a toll on their experience of joy. They lost their joy for work sometimes. It's no fun anymore. And the workload starts to impact their presence with their family. So they come home and they are either distracted from work, thinking about work, working in the evening, or simply have no energy really to give and nurture the family because work takes up too much space. They wake up feeling rushed already before they get to work because the workload is just wearing and tearing on them. It doesn't need to be that way. I'm all about finding joy at work while being very, very productive. And it's absolutely possible to do that. I had a guy recently, he worked at a big company. He was both a strategic specialist and an engineer at the same time. And he faced a situation here with a workload that was just insane. He said, I get about 30 meeting requests per day. 20 of them are changes within meetings that are happening on the same day. So I said, oh, you must be double and triple booked a lot in your calendar. He said, oh, are you joking? I think my record is I was called to 9 meetings at the same time, he said. 9 meetings at the same time in the calendar, right? He faced the situation, and it's very easy in those situations to ask the wrong question. And a question that doesn't work well is, what should I do? I get asked that all the time from clients, potential clients. I'm facing this situation, what should I do? I'm facing this situation, what should I do? I'm facing this situation, what should I do? And it's not the best question. Why? Well, we just established that you don't do what you know you should do anyway. So even if you knew what to do, it's very likely you might not do it. This guy who was swamped with work, I even doubted that we were able to help him because he was in an environment that was so much pressure for him. I spoke with him at the end of a program he did with us, and he said, no, it's different now. Before, I was always tired when I got home. I was not present for my family. I had no energy in the evenings to do anything. I was just month after month after month after month. There was no joy. I was just exhausted. Now something shifted for me, he said. So now I come home, I make a cup of tea. That's before I cook dinner for my kids, because I love to cook dinner. And you know what? I got so much time on the weekends nowadays, because during the evenings in the week, I do all the small things around the house and the garden and those things that needs fixing. So there's nothing left to fix on the weekends. I got free time on the weekend. How is it possible to create those transformative shifts? Well, this is how human beings work. We don't see the situation as it is. So when we face the situation, we get thoughts, sometimes stressful thinking, and I put some stress in the stomach here with a red pen. We get stressful feelings, right? The situation seems to cause stress and feelings of stress. If you look at the principle of being human, it's not the situation that triggers the experience of stress. What happens is you have a frame of mind through which you see the situation, and that frame of mind starts to shape your experience in your thinking and in your feeling. What we do in our company is we don't tell people much what to do, except when we do that sometimes, but that's not the big part. The big part is to start to investigate, what frames are you seeing the world through that makes you have the experience you're having? That's a much better question. What frame am I currently using to observe the world? And is there a more empowering frame? Because if you shift the frame to something else, we put the yellow one here, then the situation will seem have the same data, but you will get different thinking. And as your thinking starts to shift, your feeling shifts. And we'll train you in some other frame. And the same situation will look differently in your thinking and in your feeling. And you know what? The good news is when you think differently and feel differently, you start to act differently. You put that in your hands. Because action is a function of your thoughts and feelings, and those are a function of how you see the world. So until you see the world differently, you won't change your behavior. And it's how you really see the world, not how you think you see the world. If you've been in our programs before and you had that kind of shift of perspective, and it wasn't a small improvement, it was like a before and after experience. Wow, the same situation looked like this before and I felt this way, but now I've woke up to a different reality. In the same situation now looks very different and I feel much different and better about it. If you had that experience in our training, type a yes in the chat. Just type a yes. Go to the chat and type a yes if you recognize what I'm speaking about. And I'd be very embarrassed if there was no yeses here. So today, in the last 12 minutes here, and tomorrow and Friday, I will give you some frames so you can start to bring those frames to your day and see what difference that can make. Great. So one such frame has to do with effectiveness. When people face a situation of stress, overwhelm, more workload than they want, they don't feel great, they think, oh, I need to work more effectively. And then the question is for me, what frame do we have for what effectiveness is? And when I've asked thousands of people through the years, what is it to work effectively or to increase your effectiveness? And the most common response I get is, well, you get more done in less time. And people look a little more and they actually say, well, you get more done with less time and less resources, of course. Yes, if I can produce more with less resources, that's more effective. And I ask, well, what about quality then? Should you drop quality? They go, no, 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 no. We cannot drop quality. So we're really ultra effective if we do more in less time with fewer resources and we increase quality. Well, you try that and it's no fun. You'll get very tired. Here is a key frame, which I invite you to try on for today, and you'll get a bit of homework today around this frame. In life, there are always two sides. On one side, you have the production of life. You have the results. So if we stop for a second and slow down for a second, and I ask you that are attending live, and I ask you that are watching the recording now, what's your production at work? What are you producing? What's the end result of your job? I can say two things to that myself. Well, my end result is a more joyful experience of work, a deeper sense of well-being, and a significant expansion of results. That's what I produce, or that's what the training and development my company produces for people. But then really my production is to provide coaching, education, and training that creates that sense of well-being, joy, and increased production. What is your production? What results does your work ultimately deliver for your staff or your customers, or what's the production side of the equation for you? Just type in the chat as best as you see right now. The teacher is producing knowledge for the students, right? What's your production? Type in the chat. Yeah, Anna does her work and the result is safe and secure IT services, right? You can type in Swedish if you're Swedish, that's fine. It's enough of English, right? So there is financial structure and constructing drawings for builders to build something, absolutely. More secure services. What else? We wait for a few more comments. This is not TV, right? I request you interact here because it helps you clarify your perspectives. Well-being for your patients, absolutely. Thomas is working with healthcare, right? Lila says, yeah, better healthcare. Clarence says that projects get completed. So we all have results. Great, I'm reading at the same time here. And effectiveness is when the production of results is in balance with something. And what needs to balance the demand for results is your experience of power. Or you could call it capacity. So when your power is this big, and the demand for production is this big, like personally now, how do you feel at work? If you have this much demand for production, but only this much power or capacity, how do you feel? Type in the chat. How do you feel when your power is less than the demand for results? Weak, insufficient, I feel awful, I feel stressed, I feel drained, I feel completely exhausted, I feel stressed. Exactly. Nothing I tell you to do will help with this imbalance unless you get the perspective of balance between production and power. Start your day in power means you need to question your balance. Am I in enough power to produce the things today that I have set up for myself today? This is a super interesting and helpful perspective that helps you see situations differently. People think they have a problem with stress. People think they have a problem with the workload. People think they have a problem with circumstances at work. It's not stress that is the problem, everybody. If you're stressed and overwhelmed, you have a capacity problem. That's what you have. It's a capacity problem. So when people come to us with stress, overload, pressure, they don't have a stress problem. Stress is just the effect and symptom of their capacity being out of balance. That's the problem. And we have a very reliable methodology to help people quickly increase their power. So it ideally exceeds the demand for production, but at least balances out. And when you learn how to increase your capacity, you will naturally feel less stress, joy at work comes back, and you will be more productive. So that's an example of a frame that alters how you see things. Nothing is wrong with you. It's just your capacity that needs more attention and care. And then you'll be back in your healthy, inspired, productive individual that you ultimately are. So that was today's frame. Now you get a homework today. And We'll bring you up, Monica, if you spotlight yourself as well. Cool, there you are. So I've been working together for 15 years. We got like 4 minutes left, so we'll do this briefly. Homework today, Monica, you know, but nobody knows yet. It is to take one action today to increase your experience of power and capacity. So everybody today, your homework is, if you see this recording, you do it whenever you do it, tonight or tomorrow morning, whatever. What can you do today to build a sense of more power and capacity, just common sense? So right after the seminar, you either dive into the production side, meaning you check emails, you run to a meeting, you start calling people, you check your text messages. If you don't do that, you go to the capacity side instead. Monica, some ideas. Let's ping back and forth for a minute. What could one do to increase capacity, common sense? Simple stuff today.
Yeah, I would look to what I'm missing. Is it more time to work? Maybe decline the meeting. Is it to empower my body? Maybe take a walk during lunch.
Good. Right after the seminar, look in your calendar for the rest of today. Is there a meeting you can decline, or even 2, and free up 2 hours because your colleague can update you, right? Take a lunch walk today. 20 minutes outdoors. In Sweden, the weather is beautiful today. Do that. Go to lunch with a colleague and say, hey, do you want to join me for lunch, and just have a relaxing good time for lunch, right? You could book in to attend tomorrow morning seminar and Friday morning seminar if you wish with us, and invest half an hour in getting more energy for the day. Cook
all notifications for 20-30 minutes and see how much work you can actually get done without any disturbances.
Good. I extend it to an hour. Turn your phone off for an hour and your mail off for an hour, and you have to work on something. We're serious with this, guys. When the perspective shifts, small actions can give a big difference of experience of capacity. Cook a nice dinner for your family tonight. Just leave work on time for once, on time, and cook a lovely dinner for everybody at home. And then say, what happened with you? Well, I'm building capacity, you say. Or
you grab takeout on the way home and you don't cook.
Home with pizza for your kids today. You sell yourself 45 minutes. Kids are, what's this? Pizza on a Wednesday? Yeah, I'm building my capacity. So you can play around with this, but take one action. I will spend 30 minutes today with everything shut off, preparing a seminar I'm leading later of the week. And that simple 30 minutes will put me in a sense of, wow, I'm one step ahead now. It's simple stuff like that. Then you're to take one action to build your production. What can you do today to be more productive? And it's typically doing something that doesn't need to happen today, like my seminar prep. Do it earlier than you would do it. Prep a meeting, call a key customer that you've been thinking of calling, set up a meeting with your boss that you've been postponing for 2 weeks. Just take some action today to move your production forward. So that's that. Half an hour goes quickly. Take one action to increase your capacity and one action to produce something. Also, you will receive a mail today with a link to the recording of this seminar. You can share that with friends, family, colleagues who missed the seminar. Some of you know a lot of people that didn't attend. They will get a link. And on that page, we will post recordings of tomorrow's seminar if you can't attend, and Friday's seminar. And you can also read on that page how we continue this kind of training next week with some very exciting and inspiring activities during next week. But that'll be in a mail for you today, or the link in the chat right now. Thanks everybody for joining in this morning, and thanks for watching the recording. We have a tradition in our webinars is that everybody turn on their microphone right now when we say a shared goodbye. So everybody turn on your microphones, and then we just in chorus go a shared goodbye. So thanks everybody.
Goodbye.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Hello.
Tack så mycket. Bye bye.
Bye bye.